Have you ever wondered why some professionals rise through the ranks while others stay unnoticed? The secret is not in their titles, but in how they approach their personal growth by developing the CEO mindset. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 reasons why you can't fail with the CEO mindset. Reason number 1, clarity creates confident career momentum. You see, here's the truth. Nothing ever becomes dynamic until it first becomes clear. Perhaps you have a career trajectory in mind, and that career trajectory is quite dynamic because of the contribution you want to make, the influence that you want to have, the fulfillment you want to experience. It's dynamic, but nothing becomes dynamic until it first becomes clear. You see, with the CEO mindset, CEOs know exactly where they're headed. And because they know exactly where they're headed, they know exactly what distractions not to let creep in. And distractions are the things that break momentum. So let's talk about momentum. What is momentum? Momentum is the opposite of inertia, and this comes from science. The first law of physics says that an object in motion will keep staying in motion unless it is acted upon with an outside force. So if you're moving along a certain direction, you will keep moving along that certain direction until something interrupts that direction. So what's the thing that interrupts that direction? What's the thing that interrupts that momentum? It's distractions. So with the CEO mindset, CEOs are able to identify what are my highest priority activities, and anything outside of that is a distraction. So I need to build protection and safeguards against those distractions. Because here's the second thing about momentum is that momentum is a vector quantity. So what's a vector quantity? It means there's an arrow. So picture an arrow. An arrow points in a certain direction. So does momentum, because an arrow is a vector. So if you have momentum, there's an arrow that illustrates your momentum. You have momentum in a certain direction. Isn't it possible that the arrow is pointing in the wrong direction? So you might feel like you're being productive. You might feel like you're making progress, and maybe you are. But if the arrow of your momentum is pointing in the wrong direction, then it's not producing the outcome that you desire, and therefore it's not productive or effective, especially within the context of an organization. So this is what I mean by clarity creates confident career momentum. Know where you're headed. Have that absolute clarity. Understand the first law of physics in terms of momentum versus inertia, and be busy at safeguarding and protecting yourself and your mind against distractions that move you away from your highest priority actions. Reason number 2, decisions drive direction. And by the way, each of these reasons build from the previous one, right? The first one, having that confidence and having that clarity. So now decisions drive direction. Once you're clear where you're headed, right, the clarity, once you're clear where you're headed and you've identified your higher priority actions and you are safeguarding against clear distractions, now you make decisions, decisive decisions without being paralyzed by fear and anxiety. You see, most professionals are paralyzed by fear and anxiety because of where their focus is. Depending on what you focus on, depending on how you see and how you look at your situation or your circumstances, that will either cause you to take decisive action, or that will cause you to be paralyzed in fear and indecision. And indecision is the best way at breaking momentum. Indecision leads to stagnation. So if you are making decisions, you're making decisions from a CEO mindset, which is not the fear of the decision itself. Did you know that a lot of people fear the decision itself because of all the thoughts in their mind about the difficulty of this decision, the perils of making the wrong decision, and the consequences of it not going the right way? That fills their mind, that exact focus, that exact thought. They fill their mind, and the emotions follow as a result of what you are thinking. And as a result of what you're saying to yourself, the emotions will follow. And you see, when your emotions are heightened with anxiety-based fear, that anxiety-based fear, those emotions are unaligned and they're misaligned with decision. They're misaligned with decision making. So with the CEO mindset, the CEO mindset works at safeguarding their mind. I mentioned it in the reason before. Safeguarding your mind against distractions. So distractions include distracting thoughts, distracting words, distracting idealisms, and distractions from what other people say. So do not allow these distractions to superimpose in your mind thoughts, words, and pictures of outcomes that you do not desire even before you've made the decision. Because understand that decisions create clarity of direction. Reason number 3, excellence over excuses. A CEO will prioritize their decisions over their reasons, which means that it's extreme ownership. Taking ownership of all the outcomes in their life, taking ownership of the decisions they make for good and for bad, and taking ownership over the responsibilities that they uphold. So it's excellence over excuses. So many people hang on to their excuses as the reason why my life is this way. And so many people create more and more reasons to explain their circumstances instead of doing something about it. And I feel, and it may not be true, but after having coached enough individuals, it seems like the reason why individuals hold on to their excuses is because it produces a feeling of comfort. There's a benefit associated with that. When you fight for your excuses, you're not fighting for the better fight. You're not fighting for outcomes. You're fighting for excuses. If you're fighting to stay comfortable, if you're fighting to have things stay the way they are, then you're also not going to be fighting to make an influence. You're not going to be fighting to differentiate yourself. And you're also not going to be fighting to really make a difference through your contribution because you're busy fighting for your excuses. And here's the thing about fighting for excuses. If you're in a team, in an organization, and you fight for your excuses, you get to keep them. And you get to live with the consequences of your own excuses. So a CEO mindset prioritizes excellence and lets go of excuses. Excellence in character, excellence in behavior, excellence at producing solutions for important problems for other people. And excellence is important in all of these arenas because if you focus on bettering yourself to be excellent in all that you do and how you think and all that you produce, then you are adding more value into the marketplace. And prosperity is a byproduct of value created. And fulfillment and contribution is also a byproduct of the level of value you put out there. The greater the value you learn to produce for others, the more fulfillment comes out of it. It's not about titles. It's not about promotions. It is about contribution, really making a difference that is meaningful. And if you will seek excellence over excuses, then you have the opportunity to experience that level of fulfillment and contribution. Learning to think and act like a CEO is the greatest hack to personal growth because it makes you most aligned with your ability to create prosperity. So if you're serious about developing this skill set, this tool set, and this mindset for yourself, then click the link below this video and it's going to take you to a page, and that is my Mastery Accelerator mentorship program. So remember how I talked about powerful environments. This is a powerful environment for me and my team to support you on your journey to think and act like a CEO. If you're serious about creating those careers, the outcome of prosperity for yourself and the people you care about, then I look forward to working with you on the inside. Reason number 4 is learn, lead, leap. Learn effectively, lead effectively, and leap effectively. Lifelong learning is a really important activity in the CEO mindset, in the way of thinking, because lifelong learning allows you to become someone to be able to do the things that are needed. It means you're constantly equipping yourself with a skill set, the mindsets and the tool sets to lead effectively, and therefore to make those decisions that leap to your next level of contribution. And when it comes to learning, there are some great teachers out there that you can learn from. And the first one of these great teachers are purposeful and principled education. So what do I mean by that? Principled education are things like books and courses that really come from a principles first standpoint. So this is a type of education where it's not about tactics. It's not about all the little things you can do, the million different things you can do. It's also not about the airy-fairy, here's what everybody else is saying, here's what everybody else is doing. It's not about that. Principled education. Some authors, not all of them, and some course teachers, not all of them, are truly principles first, which means that they are the source of truth. So that's one example of a great teacher. Another great teacher are past examples, past experiences. So you are alive long enough to have had many past experiences. And you've had successes, you've had failures, and you've had everything in between. Learn from those. Because you don't learn from just having 7 years of experience. You don't learn from just the passage of time. You learn from reflecting upon those experiences thoughtfully. So that is another great teacher. Another great teacher are purposeful examples. So these are individuals like mentors, coaches, consultants, people around you maybe, who really do exemplify great individuals, greatness, a great CEO way of thinking, great CEO mindset, and they have the consistency to lead by those examples. So learn from them. So that is another great teacher, are purposeful examples. Another great teacher are your exaltations, your proposed exaltations. So what does that mean? It means that maybe there are individuals in your life where you look up to them. Maybe you know them very well, maybe you don't know them, but you have heard from them and you listened to them before. But there's something about them that they exude a CEO way of thinking, and you look up to them. Maybe you admire them, maybe there's aspects of them that you want to be more like that. Learn from them. Those are also great teachers. And the final example of a great teacher to learn from are powerful environments. This is my favorite one. Powerful environment. The reason why powerful environments are so powerful is because your environment is more powerful than your willpower. Now, you may be very ambitious. I don't know you. You're listening to this. Maybe you're really ambitious. And if you put your mind to it, if you say you do something, you're going to do it. And then you exude your willpower to get it done. So maybe that's how you've operated. But there's one thing that's more powerful than your willpower, and that is your environment. And that's exactly why there's wisdom in the saying that you are the sum of the closest 5 people that you spend the most time with, because that is your micro-environment. That is your immersive environment. That is your most intimate environment. So powerful environments are great teachers to learn from. What is the environment you've been learning from? What is that environment? Is that the right environment that you need to take your thinking to the CEO level of thinking? So here's what I've noticed. Something that has elevated me to become the CEO I am today is leveraging powerful environments. So I have invested in being a part of masterminds, coaching programs, mentorship programs, because I understand that if I surround myself with individuals who desire and they purposefully seek out CEO thinking, CEO mindset, and is led by someone who exemplifies those characteristics, then I will be immersing myself in a powerful environment that is more powerful than my own willpower to succeed. So that is one of the great teachers to learn from, are powerful environments. Reason number 5, overcome obstacles with optimism. Visionary CEOs are optimistic. And optimism just means that when faced with challenges and situations that are less than favorable, their focus creates anticipation and energy rather than anxiety and fear. So this is optimism. And it really depends on what you focus on. What do you focus on when you're faced with challenges? Do you focus on, oh, this is the worst day ever, and I'm never going to get over this, right? The whole world is against me. This is going to be impossible in situation. Is that what you focus on? If you focus on that, that's exactly what you get. It's exactly what you experience. It's exactly what's going to be the outcome of your focus, because your focus creates what you experience on the inside, and what you experience on the inside determines how you make decisions. So a visionary CEO mindset is optimism. And you might be thinking, well, isn't it dangerous to be optimistic? Well, the mere fact that you're asking that question says that your tendency is to focus on the other side. How is that serving you? It's not about being overly optimistic. It's not about being so naively optimistic. It's about being optimistic, about being intentional about what you focus on. So why not set the game up so that you can win? Why not create a focus? Why not discipline yourself to focus on the things that give you energy instead of focusing on the things that take your energy away or rob you of your energy? Why not write the rules of the game so you can win? So overcome obstacles with optimism means to look at your obstacles differently. Maybe the way you've been looking at your obstacles now is causing you to feel doom and sadness and overwhelm and all sorts of panic. So change the way you see your obstacles. When you change the way you see your obstacles, the obstacles themselves start to change. Reason number 6, faith fuels fortitude. Now, when I'm talking about faith, I'm not referring to religion or any religious beliefs. I'm referring to faith, and my definition of faith is when you choose to believe in the outcomes that are desirable and fulfilling to you. Because the opposite of faith is doubt. And when you doubt something, when you doubt a thing, even doubting yourself, you're choosing, or at least not choosing, to believe the opposite, but you're choosing. Even a lack of choice is a choice. You're choosing to believe in the things that are turning out not in your favor. That is doubt. You're choosing to see only the things that are unfavorable. That is doubt. So choose faith. Because when you have doubt will whisper to you, you gotta stop. You gotta quit now. It's not gonna work out. Just quit. Cut your losses and quit. That's the conversation of doubt. The conversation of faith is very different. The conversation of faith says, grow, plant that seed, trust in your actions, trust in the skills you are continuing to invest in developing. Faith, the conversation of faith is completely different. And faith is really important because you can't possibly know how things are going to work out. And since you don't know how things are going to work out, doesn't it stand to reason that in the now that you're taking action, you got to be able to influence yourself to be able to continue to take action. Because if you don't, the default is going to be doubt, and doubt whispers to you, quit now. It's too hard, quit. And then you stop the activity, the exact activities that's going to produce the outcome you want if only you had persisted. So faith creates fortitude, and fortitude is the stuff that resilience is made out of. And resilience is important because the journey is long and it is hard. And without resilience, it's impossible to weather the winters that we will necessarily experience in the most meaningful journey of our lives. Reason number 7, serve before you succeed. This may sound like an oxymoron, but I'm going to share it anyways. If you desire to advance your career and advance your life, you have to stop trying to advance your career and advancing your life. I know is so counterintuitive and it's paradoxical. But remember, taking on a CEO mindset, if you don't already have one, is necessarily going to feel controversial and it's going to feel paradoxical, because if it didn't feel that way, that means you already have a CEO way of thinking. You see, the focus on trying to better your life and the focus on trying to advance your career is making it all about you. It's what you want. And life does not work that way. If you desire the rewards in return, right? Fulfillment, compensation, inspirational life, right? Being noticed by other people, praises, rewards, right? Recognition. Those are the rewards that you want to have and receive. the pursuit of those rewards comes with service. And it comes from putting your best service out there, focusing on excellence over excuses, the reason I gave earlier. And Zig Ziglar said it best. He said that you can have everything you want in life if you will help enough others to get what they want. So service before success. Now, it might seem like, well, some people are overnight success, right? They didn't do that. They're selfish people. They just focus on getting what they want. And look at them, they're so successful. It might seem that way, but you weren't there when they were putting their hard work in. You weren't there to see the blood, sweat, and tears. Right? Success is always seen in the glory, but the path to success is always in the shadows. It's exactly like your reputation. Reputation is created in the shadows, but it is expressed in the limelight. And this success is the exact same way. So the next time you see someone successful, before you start making assumptions that it was easy or that it was overnight, pause and think about what constitutes that success, the journey to success. Now, I'm not talking about those who were just given everything, who were so fortunate to be born into. I'm not talking about those. Those are outliers. Chances are, if you're listening to this message right now, you were not born into a wealthy family, and you had to work hard for the things you have now. So this moment forward, there's certain other things that you desire to have in your life. There's certain other things that you desire to achieve. And if that's true, it requires a different way of thinking and a different way of being. So then learn to think this way and think differently and put your service first. What's the highest level of service that you can give to the greatest amount of people? And persist in delivering that service. And that will require you to pause, to put a pause on thinking about yourself. Put a pause on thinking about your compensation or thinking about wanting to get that praise, that reward, or that recognition. To pause thinking about yourself just long enough, not forever, but just long enough for you to put your service out there, for you to understand someone else and what problems they have so you can provide the best solutions.